Hello, 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 hello. Welcome back. I'm Marie Janae, I'm the creator of the Curvy Fashionista, and we're back with another Speaking of Curves live interview. We created this series to really connect with small business owners, influencers, like creatives, to talk about like how they're transitioning through COVID, how they're dealing with Rona, but also for you to connect with them because they've all done some very interesting pivots. We still want to make sure that like even through Rona, like these small businesses exist and are thriving afterwards. So we kind of came up with this like live series so that you can get to know these business owners, connect with them, put a face to their business and brand, and really talk about how we can support each other, what they're going through, and really just kind of spread the love. As you tune in, do me a favor. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Don't be shy. You can ask all the questions today. Ask them all. We'll see them. We'll be able to say, hey, boo. But as you're joining in, let us know like what questions you have for our guests. And let me tell you about Miss Shay. Now, Miss Shay, I found her on Twitter. She was like retweeted into my timeline. I was like, oh, this girl's cute. And then I found out that she had a boutique. And then we started following each other on Instagram. And I call her Shay because I don't want to mess up her name. But she has shops Chalyne Esther on Instagram, shops Chalyne Esther on .com. She is an emerging plus size boutique owner that you need to know because she's cute. And what I even appreciate is she models her own clothes. And for a boutique owner, I was really curious about like how you're navigating this. Like it's Rona. Rona is like messing up with everyone's business. So we're going to be talking with boutique owner Shay, and we're going to learn a little bit about her journey. And so as you guys are tuning in, say hello. Don't be shy. And let's welcome Miss Shay. Hello, girl.
Hey girl, how
Thank
are
you so
you?
much. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I want to take the moment to just thank you and give you your flowers, honey, because when you reached out to me, I was like so grateful. You loved on me. You told me how proud you were of me. Like, I'm like, who's this lady? A stranger, like telling me she's proud of me. And I was just like, so you allowed me to be vulnerable and quickly comfortable in the space. And so I want to give you your flowers, honey. Like, I just love you. And I thank you so much for this platform. And I thank you so much for just being you and just loving on me, girl.
Oh, thank you. I mean, sometimes like what I realize is like, we're kind of figuring these things out. We make mistakes, we make missteps, we F up big. And sometimes, we have like if we're not giving ourselves enough grace, we need to be reminded to give ourselves grace, right? And
Yeah.
especially now, like especially starting a business, there's no roadmap. There's no this is what you're supposed to do. I mean, there are some, but there aren't too many places of like really trying to figure it out because everyone's got a little bit of a different way of doing business. So thank you for the love, sis. Like you've only been in business 1 year, but
Yeah.
you have been growing really fast. You've been making waves, and I wanted to like, show. I wanted you on so you could show people like how really taking a leap of faith on yourself, taking that leap of faith and how it can really transform yourself, right? So,
Yes.
if you guys are just joining in, I'm Marie Janae. I am the creator of the Curvy Fashionista, and we're here with Miss Shay of Chalyne Esther. Am I saying it right?
It's Chalyne Steer.
Oh,
So
I'm
shop
sorry,
Chalyne
Chalyne
Steer. So
Steer.
it's okay.
Yes,
It's
Chalyne
okay.
Steer. My bad. Chalyne Steer. And she has a plus size boutique online, and she's been killing the game. So, as you're joining, if you guys have questions, like drop them in. Like we have Zakia from Philly. We have Kenya Irvin that said hello. Hey y'all. Like make sure you guys
Hey
jump in.
y'all.
If you have questions, don't be shy. So do me a favor, say tell us how you got started with your boutique.
Okay, so I got started February of 2020. Technically, I got started in 2019. I booked a trip to LA to go to BeautyCon for a friend's birthday, and I was like, "Girl, meet me in LA." We were there for like the weekend, but she came like a day after me. So as I was walking, I was like, "Well, let me go check out the fashion district because I heard it was
You
so
was down
big
in the
in
alley.
LA."
You was
Yes,
down in the
girl.
alley.
Yes. So I was like down in Santee Alley. I wasn't even on the wholesale side. I was just like on the side where they're selling the fake makeup and the bags and all of those things. And some guys on the street just stopped me like in my tracks and they were like, "You're so beautiful. Can you come and model for us?" And I was like, "Wait, what's happening?" So I was like, "Okay, fine." So I followed these two guys into an alley, into their
Oh
little
my gosh.
studio. Yeah,
Hey,
followed them. Yes.
keep going.
Followed them into their studio where they had a bunch of clothes. They were like vintage, like clothing store owners. So they bought vintage stuff and resold it. And they were like, "I need you in this dress, this dress." And so quickly I found myself modeling for them. Um, and then I had a chance to go around the fashion district and I'm like, okay, like I don't have time to like really go through this and all of this because I came here for BeautyCon. So I came back home after BeautyCon and I was like, what am I doing here? I live in Florida, South Florida. And I was like, what am I doing here? I need to like go back. So I booked a one-way trip back to LA literally the same week. I didn't know how long I was going to be there. I brought enough clothes for probably a week. And a friend of mine was like, "You can stay with me, girl." And I was like, "Okay, cool." But I'm like a person that don't like to be in people's space for too long. So when I realized that I'm probably going to be there longer, I was like renting an Airbnb, hotel, all of those things to really navigate my way through the city. I ended up being in LA for a month and 2 days just because I fell in love with going to the fashion district every day, finding my vendors, finding my manufacturers. I always knew that I wanted to create something very inclusive just because of how my weight always fluctuated throughout my entire life. I was in a fashion academy in high school. And so I was already like wanting to create something. I just didn't know where to start. So, me being in LA and just having the fashion district at my fingertips and being able to just walk down the street and find beautiful clothes and really connect with vendors and manufacturers and things like that was super fascinating for me. So I ended up staying till I went broke,
Let me
literally.
stop you there. Let me stop you there. First of
Yes.
all, I'm gonna need y'all. If you guys, I don't know if you guys caught her story and caught what she said, but she literally like took a whole gamble on her curiosity, on her new passion, on something that really caught her attention. So she literally threw herself in there. She booked a one-way flight to LA, spent a
Where I
month
knew
and two
nobody.
days where she didn't know anybody. She spent a month and 2 days going every day back and forth to the alley. The alley, the garment district, they're all in the same space, two different sides of the street. I'm from LA, so that's like where our California, so I can, I've been down there. It's like lovely to be down there. Okay.
Yes.
It's like, oh, clothing
Yes,
amazing, right?
close. Yes.
Right. So, and if you're just tuning in, we're here with Miss Shay. She is the owner of Chalyne a plus size boutique that she's created, and we're talking about her journey. And I asked her how she got into it, and Olga just like jumped into it. So here we are, a month and 2 days later. Keep going.
Yes. So I ended up being there. I mean, it was rough. It was really, really rough. I started to run out of my own money. I had to phone my parents. I called my dad. I'm like, "Daddy, I want to come home. I'm homesick." And he said to me, "I looked at your vision board the other day and I saw the Hollywood sign, and you're exactly where you need to be. And you can't come home. I don't want to cry." But yeah, so he encouraged me to stay. He sent me a picture of his debit card, and then my mom sent me her credit cards in the mail to my friend's house that was there. And they really were like, use it to find a place to stay, whatever you need, food, all of those things. Um, I even try to navigate with finding jobs while I was there. I got a job literally like the first week that I was there, but then I quit the next day because I was like, I didn't come here for this. Like, I came here to follow my dreams. I didn't come here to work for another company. That's not what I want to do. So I ended up like really, like literally walking out the very next day I started. And went broke basically. I it clicked for me. I didn't want to continue using my parents' money because I'm just like, I have to be responsible. I'm an adult, so I have to go back home, even though, I want to stay, but it's time for me to go back home. So I quickly kind of just threw all my stuff out there that I bought from the fashion district, things that didn't even fit me, because I got one of my friends to model it. And I just threw it out there before I left, before I came back home in September. I didn't even see not one sale. Like, because of how I just threw it out there and launched it. Yes, I did professional pictures and I did the whole thing. I rented a peer space, all of those things, but I did not do a strategic launch. And so I didn't see any money. Like, there was nothing happening. I ended up giving all my inventory away. And I was like, I'm not going to do this. But something clicked for me January of 2020. I was like, girl, do you know what you went through for your dream? Do you know you literally like cleared out your account for for your dream? You said you didn't want to work for anybody else. You said you're not going back to the whole 9 to 5. Like, I always knew I needed to be my own boss. And so I just had to really lay it out to myself that I'm going to do this for me. I'm going to be
Right.
consistent, not
Mhm.
constant. I'm not going to constantly do the same thing over and over. I'm going to be consistent with what I'm doing. I'm going to go for it, and I'm just going to take the risk. And that's what I did. And so February 2nd, I literally phoned a friend. I'm like, girl, come meet me downtown West Palm and let's take some pictures. I have one dress in two colors for plus size girls, and I'm going to model it. And you're going to take my pictures. And so we did that. And that evening, I went home. I edited the pictures that we took them on my camera. I edited them, fixed the lighting, smoothed my skin out, and then posted it on my website. And I was like, all right, we're going to get the ball rolling. And my Twitter followers, they just were very supportive. I actually went viral for my style on Twitter, and I was sending all of these people to New York and Company and all of these big established brands already because of they were asking me what I was wearing. And I'm like, Chalyne, you can literally put that money back in your own pocket because you have the resources, the knowledge, and you know where to get your stuff. You know what to
Right.
do, so that's when it clicked. It's like when I'm getting 10,000 retweets and everybody's asking me where's my clothes from, and it's like, dang, I'm putting money in the next person's pocket that's already established, and I'm trying to get established. What do I do now? And that's when it was like, light bulb, girl, get your shit together and let's do it. And so that's what I did, and we just took off running from there. So that's why I count February 2nd as my 1 year anniversary, because it really is. It's when I decided to fully go for it and fully commit and say I'm not going to look back. So yeah,
Well, happy anniversary.
thank you.
Now, I mean, so there's a lot of audacity, a lot of like, leaps of faith. Oftentimes we get emails from folks who are like, how do I start a boutique? How do I get started? How do I get started? How do I get started? And literally oftentimes that first step is just taking that leap. Like, it's
Yeah,
never going to be perfect when you launch the thing, fix it along the way. So
yeah.
for you, like, you started February 1st, 2020.
Second, second,
Oh,
February
February
2nd.
2nd.
Yes.
Then the Rona hit.
Oh yes.
Like, for someone who's doing, just started a business, so you on your high, you're like, yeah, we doing this,
Yeah.
and then Rona came. How did that impact you?
So I have to be honest. Rona actually was the peak of my business.
Okay.
So I was literally I don't know why, but I didn't panic when everyone did. I
Okay.
didn't. I was still like, all right, well, let's go shoot, like, and I was outside twirling in dresses in downtown Miami in Brickell City Center on the sidewalk. There was no people around. It was just like me and my other model, and I was just like twirling around. I still have the videos, so funny. And then when I was posting them on Twitter, everybody was like, go inside. Like, there's Rona outside. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, screw these people. Like, I know what the girls want. I'm going to give the girls what they want. And that was just that. So actually, March, February, I didn't goal set because I was just getting back into it. And so March, I set a goal for myself. I set a goal for like $2,000 because that's what I made in February, just not goal setting. So, and that was my first month in. So for March, I set a goal for 2K, and I break down my goals by the day, literally by the year, by the quarter, by the week, by the day. And
Hold on,
so,
slow down, because like I don't know if y'all caught that, Jim. For our business owners, for our bloggers, influencers, creatives, when it comes to the goals, you can have that big goal. But say that again, Shay, what you did to help make your goal more attainable. What did you do?
I break my goal down to the very day. So whatever I want to make for the year, if that's 100K, I break that down into the quarter. I break the quarter down into the months, and I break the months down into the week, and the week down into the day. So I
Listen,
literally,
hold on, yeah, like that doesn't like this same application because you given some information, and this is something sometimes I talk about like to influencers, like if you have a revenue goal or page view goal, like you break things down so that way it becomes a little bit more attainable. Because having a
yes,
crazy high goal, your eyes are gonna gloss over. You can be like, I'm not gonna be able to
right.
do that. But how do you do it when you break it down? It feels a little bit more empowering. It feels a little bit more exciting,
Yeah.
and it feels attainable. So continue. Sorry, I had to
Yeah.
like that was a great
Oh no,
little.
that's fine. And it keeps you it keeps you it allows you to hold yourself accountable too. So so yeah, so I do that. I did that. I broke my goal down into the day because I'm like, okay, if I look at the time and it's 5 o'clock and my goal for today is $100 and I've only made 20 or I haven't made it at all, then it allows me to slide in the DMs, send a text, like, where y'all at? I need to sell these dresses. So it definitely keeps me accountable. So that's what I did for March. I made my goal at 2K. Right when Rona hit in the middle of March, when everybody had to be home for 2 weeks, people thought they were like, I'm going to go back to work in 14 days, whatever the
Right.
case. This is vacation. So they were just shopping away. Okay. And I ended the month of March with 11K. I made my first five figure in literally a month time of just
Yes,
starting.
Sam. Yes.
So,
But,
yes. And I mean,
let's just break this down though, because for the person who is for the person who is starting out and they're like, oh my God, she did this, like I want to replicate this, like you also had something else. So it wasn't just about the goal and it wasn't about understanding, but like you mentioned that you give the girls what they want. And
yes.
so, but what does that mean for the curious boutique, future boutique owner or online store owner? What does that mean specifically?
That means you need to actually get to know your audience. Like, that's literally what that means. You need to actually get to know your audience. You need to build relationships and stop trying to just sell. Like, for me, if I'm making an income while making an impact, great. That's what I want to do. But I actually make it my duty to know my girls, and know what they want. I ask questions. I ask them what they want. I do polls on Twitter like, hey, babes, what do you guys want this week? Do you want cute loungewear? Do you want dressy items? Are we going anywhere? Are we still in the house? Are we spending the night at our bae's house? What are we doing? What do we want? So you have to give your audience what they want. And yes, you can stay true to you as a boutique owner, especially if you're the face of your brand. I still stay true to myself, but I still tap into my audience and what they want as well.
It's a
So that's what that
relationship.
means.
It's a
Exactly. You're dating them. Dating them.
basically. Right. So that means you want to know. So don't just be buying things that you think like, oh, I want this. Like you have to know
Mhm.
who your audience is, who your customer is, where she's going, how she's shopping, where she's shopping, what
That,
she's reading.
yes, that goes to my next point is for boutique owners, my advice, or future boutique owners, my advice is to find the girl, right? Find the girl and build your brand off of that girl. That girl could be you. That girl could be your mom. That girl could be somebody that you're inspired by on Instagram. the girl is me. Like, I'm versatile. I'm sexy. I'm classy. I'm elegant. I'm edgy. I'm all of those things. And you have to look at where your girl shops, who's your girl's friends. What does she do on the weekends? Is she a wine tasting girl? Like, is she bougie? Is she outgoing? Is she all of the things? And that's how you build your brand. I built my brand off of myself. But again, you find that girl and you build the brand off of that girl. But you want to stay, like someone just said in the comments, stay true to yourself. Yes, you can stay true to yourself and still give the girls what they want. So,
Yeah,
and when I,
and that's so key. And not and
mhm,
it's so key because there's so many people who are like, well, I don't know, and I don't know. Like, you do. You have,
yeah,
but you did the work. You put
right,
in that work. So it's not just going to be like, oh, you open your doors and like they all come running. Like,
right,
you, even
no,
when you started on February 2nd, I got it right this time.
yes,
You were still playing around. You were still like, you still had your Twitter. You're still showing your own individual style. You were still telling your story. You were still interacting with folks. And then
hmm,
you started bringing people along on your journey.
hmm,
And you're very interactive too. Like, you are very active on Twitter. Like, that's where like WeChat is on this
yeah.
Twitter. Like, people be sleeping on Twitter. Tell the folks about Twitter.
Listen, I say, you know what? And I say you definitely have to utilize all platforms now, because I ended up losing my previous Twitter account. But I want to say, Twitter, I was solely so focused on Twitter because it allowed the my girls access to me in the way that I wanted it to. I wanted you to be able to just DM me real quick and I can just write you back real quick, versus you sending an email and like I probably won't see it until later on in the evening when I'm done working. My phone is always in my hand. So why can I not respond? A lot of boutique owners think like, okay, email me. That's fine. But if your phone is in your hand and your customer just asked you a question, why can't you simply just answer the question? Why can't you simply just send them the link that they're wanting? A lot of my girls, they trust my judgment, because they can DM me and say, hey sis, what size do you think I should get in this dress? And I'll say, oh girl, you got a 2X in that last time, but this one has so much more stretch, you can definitely get away with a 1X. And they trust me to order that 1X, and then when they get it, they're like, girl, you were right, it fits perfectly, and vice versa.
To that point, Miss Zakia had asked like a nice, like, hearty question. And she was like, I love how some of the online shops that showcase plus models put the size that the model is wearing, even put their height.
I do that.
Sometimes, but I really need them to start putting the model's measurements.
Hmm.
That would be more of a help for me to make the choice to buy or not to buy. I'm more of a rectangle. Ross, she gives her measurements. So we're starting to see. So on your site, like you said, you put down the size.
Hmm.
What about the measurement piece?
So when I first started, I was putting all my measurements. I put like my waist, my bust area, I put my hips, I put all of that. Lately, I haven't been able to put that, but I've been like, okay, I'm gonna take a moment to go back and just copy and paste things, and remeasure myself and update, because Rona, we gaining weight. So
Right.
I definitely need to remeasure myself as well. But I definitely have thought about going back and putting those things back in there, because it did really well in the beginning with a lot of girls felt like that was super helpful. A lot of my girls, they base their size around me as well, because I am the model and I do want to incorporate other models moving forward. But as of right now, a lot of them that are 1X girls, they base their size off of me. So if I'm wearing a large, they know that they can wear a large too. So I always put my size in the description for sure.
So now we've launched. We've started kicking ass in our goals, like for the business owner, like,
Hmm.
because for you, like, because you knew you were giving the girls what they want, you engaged with them, you're responsive and reactive. It allowed for you to be able to turn over product quickly, right?
Hmm.
We're able
Yeah.
to keep the buy and replenish on and turn over your product really well. So not only do we have like taking the leap and just doing it scared, doing it without having all the pieces. You have like, the setting the goals, having a plan, giving the girls what they want, listening to everything that they're saying. What would be that next piece of information that you feel that's like really helped you navigate and kind of like continue to grow?
I say definitely it's the really the building the relationship aspect that I touched on. Um, a lot of them have my personal phone numbers. You know, you can take your access to as far as you want it to be as a business owner. I really genuinely love my girls that support me because the growth wouldn't be there without them. And so I take it to that next level of if you need my number because you want to order once a week or you have questions, all of those things. I have girls that have to date has spent over 10K with my store because they ordered every single week. One girl that I've never even met and she's in Miami and I'm like, girl, please let me take you out, like I really genuinely love the support. So um, to touch on that, I would say building that relationship aspect of it, and being consistent, not constant. I really live by that. Being consistent, not constant, and taking the risk. If you only have $100 and that pack of that dress costs $98, get the dress, sis, because you can double that. Like that's how I think. Scared money don't make no money. If I
Come
gotta
on.
hold on to this $100, like, what am I holding on to the $100 for? Okay, I can get gas, I can eat, cool. If I have all of those things already, if there's food in my fridge, I have gas in my car to get to my next destination, and I have $100 and I don't have any inventory, and I see that whatever's on the site is not making any sales, I'm gonna use my $100 to get something that I know is gonna sell, and I'm gonna triple that, I'm gonna quadruple that in the same day, and now you have more money to do more things. So take that risk, go for it, do it scared. If you're waiting to be ready, sis, you're never going to be ready. Never.
We have a question from Miss Kiana. She asked, how did you know this was your purpose and your passion?
Hey, Kiana girl. I knew that this was my passion, because I just knew I was a different kid. My parents coming from that island background, like I was born and raised in Jamaica. They want you to do the doctor, lawyer, the teacher, all of those corporate things. And I tried those things. I really, really did. I went to school for business. I got my accounting degree, my associates in accounting. I wanted to go to law school so bad. And every path that I took in the corporate world always led me some way back to what I love, which was fashion. Like I touched on earlier, I was in a fashion academy in high school. So I was sewing in high school. My parents had a sewing machine at home. Being from the islands, like, we do everything. So my dad would like turn, if I needed my bell bottom jeans turned into skinny jeans, my dad would show me how to do that. Um, yeah, so like he would do that for me, he would help me do it. So I just always knew that this was like a creative is just something that I always wanted to be, and my passion was always getting dressed. I felt great getting dressed. It just made me feel good. It genuinely, like when I'm down, when I'm sad, I'm like, you know what, let me beat my face and let me remember who I am. Let me put on my clothes and remember who I am. And that alone makes me feel great. And I love making other women feel great. Like the impact that I have on women is crazy to me. Like they come in and they're in my DMs like, sis, you help me with my confidence so much. And it makes me like literally warm inside because I'm like, I so love that because I didn't have that when I needed to feel warm inside or when I needed to, feel confident. I didn't have that. I had to create that for myself. So I love that I can do that for other people. So yeah,
Well,
I just
I mean, that is a hell of like, first of all, it's a blessing to be able to know your purpose, right? Because some people
yes.
are still kind of figuring it out, or they don't have the space to kind of like move into that, or or there's all these different things that are kind of like obstacles to
You
that.
just know. You just
Right.
know when you're walking in it, you just know. There's been times like I had a breakdown when I lost my Twitter account last year in November. I had a breakdown because so many things were crashing on me at once in my personal life, my business life. And I was like, you know what? I'm shutting down my site. And I shut down my site for like a day and a half. And I didn't leave my bed for literally about 5 days. I was so depressed and I was like, girl, you have to pull yourself out of this. I was able to pull myself out to where I opened back up my site after like a day and a half, like I said. But I was like, I had to talk myself through it. I'm like, you can't give up. Like, you work so hard. There's people counting on you. Like, whether you know it or not, even if you think you're so small, you have this amount of followers or whatever, let me tell you, followers don't amount to, like, that doesn't mean anything. That's just a number. If you have influence in real life, like, people are counting on you, and you need to like really dig deep into yourself and tell yourself you can do this. Look in the mirror, remember who the f you are. I don't want to curse. Remember who the f you are, and understand that you are a powerful woman, and walk in your power. And that's just what I tell myself all the time. So yeah, nobody can't tell me shit about myself, okay?
And no, but that's real. I mean, because there are moments. I think sometimes we don't always talk about like the ugly side of being an entrepreneur, the ugly side of
Oh,
running a business, the doubting, the insecurity, the nervousness, like the anxiety. Like for me, like I've shared many times, like I was dealing with depression and anxiety like together. I had a whole breakdown about like 5 years ago. Had to go to a therapist, had to
yep.
really start unpacking things that I didn't even know that I was carrying,
Same,
and then
sis.
really learning how to better manage, like, like whatever it is that I was dealing with, and really learn how to like walk in my
Balance.
power,
Hmm.
really learn how to lean into myself, lean into my own courage, lean in, right?
Yes.
And
Hmm.
even as you grow, my auntie would say, new levels, new devils. Like that's what my auntie said, right?
Listen, snaps
Right?
to auntie, okay?
And so even now, like I'm working on a couple of